alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show.
Only on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Welcome to the round table. This is the Sabah Show, where we discuss very thorny and pertinent issues in our society. And of course, today is no exception. The topic of discussion is, what is the role of men in our families? And there's always been this discussion of the boy child and the girl child. Now today we want to know exactly, is a man just there to provide financially and that is about it? What else are his roles in our family? And of course, to put things into perspective, I have with me an amazing panelist here, Sadia Iman from Aisha Siddiqa, Said Kuria from the newspaper review section, Out of Politics into Human Interest, and he is a former student leader. And of course, we have with us here Asmali, who is famously known as the Isli Mayor. Welcome on set. So before we begin this discussion to know what is the rules, let's go back in time. You know, we all grew up. There's nurture and there's nature. Nurture is your surrounding and nature is the environment. So I want to know, Sadi, I'll start with you. You know, tell us about culturally when you grew up, what was the role of men?
The role of men, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The role of men when I grew up was to provide for the family, protect the family, and also just to know about how the family used to have their upkeep. That was just about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, nothing more, nothing less, I would say. Mm-hmm. The other roles of how the children woke up, go to school and all that, that was the role of a mother. The wife, that is just what men used to do, provide, protect, and all that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sadia, tell us where you come from.
I come from Nyamira, apparently, but born and raised in Nairobi. And from our culture, men are the say, you don't question, you don't suggest, and that is it. What you're told to do, it has to be done. Mm-hmm. So basically, and I think from African perspective, culturally, that's what men are supposed to just say. Mm-hmm. It's said and it's done, period. Mm-hmm.
So that, interestingly enough, from the research that I did on you, you're not a born Muslim.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. So tell us how the situation was then when it came to the roles of women and men.
In the role of women and men, as I've said earlier, when I grew up, dad is to provide everything in check. Mm-hmm. That's it. Don't question, don't do anything. Mm-hmm. So when I reverted to Islam, I was hoping it would be different, because when I had to do research on Islam, definitely. It was not an influential thing from someone, though my environment was basically an Islamic environment. So that made me have the interest. But unfortunately, the men are not different.
They're just the same. All the same narrative.
Same narrative. Same narrative. And it comes to a point where I'm a bit disappointed, because I'm thinking, we Muslims, we've conned our deen. Like seriously, we've conned it. And it's heartbreaking.
Thank you so much for that. Said, from where you grew up, where are you from?
I'm from Muranga.
Muranga.
And that is where I was born.
Okay. Yes. Tell us, while growing up, you know, what was the role of men in your family?
As she has said, the role of men was to protect and provide security. Of course, that is to provide for financial help. And the role of women was to look after children, cook, and attend to different house duties that, of course, women attend to. Yes.
And what about where a woman wanted to express her opinion? Was she allowed to do so?
In my society, I'll say, in some instances, women could express their opinions. But in some instances, men had to have the say. Because I remember even in school, because of course, my socialization, my schooling was part of my socialization. In school, we used to read that the head of the house is the man is the head of the house. So he's the one who is supposed to call shots. And if there's a woman who is going against man wishes, then it seems that family has a problem. Yes.
Amazing. Asmale, where are you from?
From northeastern Kenya.
Uh-huh.
And I think historically, culturally, the role of men has evolved over the years. I remember going to school and studying about men being hunters, women being gatherers. So it has actually, the role of men has actually evolved over the years, and in this modern society now, things are not as they were previously. Things have changed. And in some households now, religious aside, people are making decisions collectively. People are making decisions while consulting each other. Men and women are consulting each other. So things have changed in modern households. But growing up, like everyone else has said, things were different. Men will go out hunting, and women were supposed to be the homemakers, if you like. So things have changed. They're not as they were before.
Thank you so much for that. Sade, I'll come to you. As a woman, what do you think is the role of men? Right now, you grew up culturally knowing that they are supposed to be the head of the house, and you are supposed to keep quiet. You're supposed to be in the kitchen, as they're the head. At the end of the day, they have the final say. So right now, as growing up, how did that affect you?
Well, basically, it has affected me in a very large way because mentally, I'm switched on and tuned on to the same mentality that when I'm married, I don't question, I just have to follow the rules of the man, and that would make me an ideal wife, a good wife. And when you get into marriage, it's something totally different. Because when I learned the deen that a man should be also humble, loving, and all that. And when you're married, it's totally different. And they come with the narrative of, you know, you're supposed to listen to your husband, be submissive, and all that. And you're like, okay, so I'm not supposed to question. I'm not supposed to suggest. And when you're aggressive and you, because with the way things have evolved and life has evolved, and with this modern age, we are exposed to so much. So learning becomes very easy, and having the knowledge, you get the power to have that knowledge. You come to realize, oh, this is not it. I'm supposed to sit with my husband and have discussions and, you know, have a balanced kind of life where we help each other. Just as Allah said that He has created women to be helpers of men. But since our cultures did not have that aspect of being helpers, we are just like, for the lack of a better word, a remote-controlled gadget. That is what women are supposed to be. But unfortunately, still up to date, there are people who have the same kind of mentality.
Because of what they got when they were very small.
Yes.
Side. I know, yeah.
I think if we compare traditional societies and modern societies, sometimes women become masters of hyperbole. They want to exaggerate how traditional societies used to oppress them. And I give an example. You know, even stories that we used to be told, those stories were meant to shape us or to give us moral lessons. There's a story in my, by the way, I have read Kikuyu, and that story used to talk of a woman who used to prepare porridge. So one day she prepared porridge. Then she felt she felt that she could not share that porridge with the husband because, of course, it is said that the porridge was very sweet. When she tasted it, it was very sweet. So she decided not to share the porridge. So she had to cook a lie. And when the husband came home, she told the husband, you know, today you not take the porridge because the porridge boiled and it spilled. And if the porridge has spilled, men are forbidden from taking spilled porridge. So the man was okay with the idea. And by the way, he went to join other men. In the evening, men used to join together in discussions to say what they have, to discuss what has happened during the day. So when he joined men, he was very sad. And the men asked, what is wrong with you? He told them, my wife has told me that the porridge spilled and I cannot take that porridge. So men told the man, you have been lied. You must also make a lie so that you
But
can
don't you
you can
think-
revenge. I want to listen. Be patient. You be patient. You can revenge. I want to show you how women today have become masters of hyperbole, so that they can take more than enough, or they can even oppress men in some instances, and to cite historical injustices. So the men advised their colleague that you have to go home and tell a lie. When you go home, tell her that she will not take milk until the cow gets the appetite. Of course, cow don't get the appetite.
Of course.
They don't have the appetite. So,
Yeah.
of course, she went
So
home.
she will never get it.
So, they went for that for some time doing this to each other. And by then, man was comfortable with with taking milk, and the woman was comfortable with taking porridge. So now they were revenging. Each one was revenging towards it. So I want to say, sometimes you have to understand that roles of women and men in society are dictated by even cultural context. And sometimes you have to have mutual understanding between each other so that you can coexist peacefully. If you go chest dumping to each other, you may even divorce. And divorce, by the way, even in our religion, we say that there's nothing that makes shaitan happy than divorce. So this woman who had died and this man who had died, of course, they are all wrong, but they could not get along for some time, and they suffered for that. So it means you have to train women and men to get along very well. And by the way, you have to consider the laws that you are making. You have to consider, are these laws in tandem with the society? Are these laws tandem with even the nature of man? Because sometimes men are not created, sometimes they behave differently with women. So that is why I'm saying, sometimes they exaggerate. They say maybe traditional society, they used to, because no one can take account of what used to happen. But sometimes even women had some their cunning ways of getting along with some things. And that is an example, because stories are not taught, they are taught to explain situations and to show that every human being has capacity of being mischievous and cunningness. So even women, both women and men have capacity of being mischievous. So they have to
For
follow the
sure.
rules and they have to be governed.
Asmali, now I'll come to you. You know, we know you as the famous Twitter guy, personally.
Yeah.
You know, and they call him the Isli Mayor. Now, tell us, you know, in your upbringing, you just told us that, you know, the man was patriarchal. We all have that understanding of the man as the boss at the end of the day. Now, you're married, you have children. Tell us about your situation, how you had to shift that mindset. Or do you still have that mindset?
Good question. Away from the porridge narrative.
Yes.
And I think the moral of the story that Saeed is talking about here is very important. That it's about patriarchal societies that we all grew up in. And everyone has a story to tell. I have several stories to tell, similar to his. If we start talking about that, we'll be here all day.
Yeah.
But coming to your point, as a parent, as a father, as a husband, at the moment, I think nothing gives me joy and happiness than seeing my family happy. And I think it has been ingrained in me. Even though we talk about patriarchal societies, again, there's a difference between culture and religion, and also environment. I was brought up in a very lovely home. My dad died when I was 13, but there's a lot of love and warmth that I got from him, and that has still remained in me, and that I want to pass to my kids. For example, when you leave work during the day and you go home in the evening, what kind of a person are you? When you go into that gate or door, wherever your house is, Are you this monster who everyone
Is
starts
afraid
walking
of,
in their boots with fear, some even wetting themselves? Or are you this person that everyone looks up to, welcome you and have you in their shoulders and arms and hug you? That is now the difference. My dad used to be a transporter of animals from Garissa to Mombasa. And every now and then when he comes back from Mombasa, we used to look forward to halwa, korosho, new clothes.
Yeah.
You know that dad is bringing something home. Now, in me, when I'm going home in the evening, I have something with me, even if it's a lollipop, which is 10 bob.
Yeah.
So my daughters, when they know dad is coming, they open the door knowing that we have a gift. So it depends with how you shape the narrative. It depends with the person. And as a man, you are the leader. And I believe as a man, you are the provider, you are the teacher, you are the protector. And it's not only financially, like everyone is talking about.
Yeah.
It's much more than, there's other currencies. It has to be physical, it has to be spiritual, it has to be a mental well-being of the whole family. So I don't treat my wife as a slave. She is a human being with desires and hopes and beliefs of her own. So I have to compliment her. And there's a very important word called compromise. And once you're in a marriage, that's when you get to learn the importance of the word compromise. No one is perfect. We all have our shortcomings. So it's very important that we learn to adapt to our environment. Of course, religion guides us. And if we separate culture from religion, then that you learn that religion actually
it stipulates everything and puts everything on the
ground. If it's
ground.
followed to the latter, we will have a very peaceful mind. But unfortunately, people divert it and just pick and copy-paste what they want in their lives. So we need to adapt to the environment. For me, I am a loving dad, I'm a loving husband.
And what I get from your story is that because your father set that example, that is why we have Asmali today here on set talking like that. Thank you so much for that. Now, we will be taking a short break and we'll be right back. Now, you can call us live, you can send us an SMS on the numbers on your screen. You can reach us out on social media, that is at Horizontv Kenya, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And in the next segment, we will be talking about, is it a taboo for the man to enter into the kitchen? Is the kitchen just for the woman? Stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show.
Only on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Tech Tuesday with Yusuf Farah.
800 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence.
Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursday with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the round table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah Show, only on Horizon TV.
Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said the believers encourage people to reconcile relations with those who have cut them off. Give charity to those who have deprived them. Forgive those who have oppressed them. Be kind with parents. Uphold family ties. Be kind with neighbors. Be kind with orphans, travelers, and the poor, and to be gentle with servants. They forbid bragging, arrogance, and transgression. They discourage people from feeling superior over others, rightly or wrongly. They enjoin people to use lofty manners and prohibit them from pursuing trifles. All that they say or do from these values and other teachings In all of it, they follow the Quran and the Sunnah. Their path is the religion of Islam, with which Allah has sent Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Repel the thought, for if you don't, it becomes an idea. So repel the idea, for if you don't, it will become a desire. So fight against that desire, for if you don't, it will become a determination and a passion. And if you don't repel that, it will become an action. And if you don't replace it with its opposite, it will become a constant habit. So at that point, it will be difficult for you to change it.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show.
Only on Horizon TV.
Alaikum. Welcome back to the roundtable, and today the topic of discussion is the role of men in families. And right now, as I promised you, the discussion is going to be centered around, can a man enter the kitchen? In this 21st century, we find that the woman goes to work just as the same way the man goes to work. So can they share 50-50 responsibility when it comes to domestic chores? I will come to you, Sadia. As a mother raising up sons, how are you nurturing them?
Could I kindly just go back to my brother's points?
No problem.
Just shortly.
Yeah.
He said, man is the head of the house. We have no dispute with that. No dispute at all. But what does a head do? What does a head do? A head is a leader, shows examples, and gives good direction. Mm-hmm. Not forgetting, this head, one day, you'll have a generation that will look up to you. Mm-hmm. Just as our brother said, he remembers how the father was, and he's taken up the same role. Mm-hmm. Fine, which is lovely. And when I started with my first comment is that we have conned Deen. Because if we look at Deen, the way it is, men should enter the kitchen. I mean, Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did it. Mm-hmm. He swept the house. So who are we emulating? If we cannot emulate Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, what Deen are we following? Then when my brother, I'm sorry if it's like I'm pouncing on him, but he gave us the porridge narrative. Mm-hmm. Two wrongs will never make a right. Uh-huh. Fine, the woman lied. Then the men sat.
Ego took over.
Yeah, and they discussed. The woman didn't have to discuss this with anyone. It was entirely her doing. I will lie that, oh, the porridge spilled over. And that is when we say communication also has become something totally different with our society. We do not know how to communicate. I'm thinking, okay, fine. When this man was told, okay, you know what? Your wife just lied to you. Why not go home, sit down, listen, why did you lie to me? As simple as that. Because now this went on and on and on and on and on with no end. Mm-hmm. Coming back to my sons, this is not for the show or anything. If they're watching me, they know I'm going back home. I'm expecting the dishes to be cleaned, the house to be cleaned, and they should be lunch ready. Why? They're going to have wives tomorrow. And this is a wife that I have not brought up. Mm-hmm. Totally from a different family. So if we just want our boys to be sitting there lovely like flower vases, and then a daughter who maybe is from a different background where in her family, she may be the last born, dad is princess, don't work, there's everything done for you. How is that home going to be? My son being the head, he will have to show an example that, you know what, we have to go to the kitchen and cook. You cook lunch, I'll cook dinner. No problem.
Or we can cook together.
Or we can cook together. I mean, this is something that our dean has taught us. But we are so egocentric and we want to be like, I'm the one who says this.
I can
In
see
marriage.
here Asmali is nodding yes, and Said Kuria here is nodding no. So Said, I'm going to come to you right now. Said, you know, you are not married, and having very many conversations with you behind the scenes, you are, you know, you are looking for a wife who can cook.
Yes.
Now, tell me, who is an ideal wife to you? And who is an ideal man? Who are you? Like for you to call yourself, yes, I am the man, I am the leader. What qualities do you think you possess?
I'll first comment. By this, she has talked about our dean. And I want to say something about our dean. Of course, in our dean, women are not obligated to cook. Neither are we obligated to cook or to share duties. And I want to tell her something. Women must be considerate. Because even in our deen, we are told we must enjoin wisdom in our actions. Do you want to expose your man to ridicule? For example, you know we are in Africa. We are not in United States. We are not in Western countries. Of course, people, and I'll support my friend, things are changing, and we might reach there where women and men will share duties, 50-50. But at this point, it is difficult, and I tell you why. I'll give an example. Maybe you have a family gathering.
Yeah.
And of course, my wife expects me to help her the way I help her at home. Other men, of course, will sit, and I'll go with other women to prepare something in the kitchen. Because, of course, it doesn't mean that if I agree to what my my wife tells me, other men will agree to what their wives tell them. And it doesn't mean because I'm a Muslim, other men in our society, in fact, in our country, we are minority. That means I'll be walking out of the kitchen, maybe sneezing or doing struggling with sufuria, and people will be laughing at me because it is a weird thing it is a weird sight. So what I'm trying to say, women must be considerate. If you really love your man, you must not expose him to ridicule. And that is why I started by saying the relationship between man and women must consider socio-cultural context. And at the same time, you must have mutual understanding. You must also know that you are not in a fight. For example, I'm saying that I want a man, a wife who will cook. Because I know my setting, I know my society. I can go to kitchen, I can cook. I cook, sometimes I cook because I'm unmarried. But in our society, if man happens to be the one who cooks, and especially what you are saying, sharing duties with his wife, everyone will be ridiculing him. In fact, it will not be after some time. Maybe you lose your man to depression or something. He may appear good when cooking or when doing these things because he loves you, but you may lose that man to depression. That is why and I want to allude to the story. The story I said about the porridge and the grazing. The men had gone to graze cows. I was trying to say that each role in our society has importance. People want to demonize kitchen work. Kitchen work is very important, and we applaud our women for doing kitchen work. Even going outside looking for money, it is also important. So you cannot underestimate some roles or make some roles appear as if if you do them, you appear a lesser human being. And by this, some roles are better done by women than men. And we believe
Said, I will leave you at that. I will leave you at that because what I'm getting from you is you feel like you will be in your society where you come from, which is a cultural context. If you are seen, you don't mind doing it at home, hiding, right? And this reminds me of a meme on social media where the man was helping the woman, he was actually washing her feet. Once the mother got in, now that's the mother-in-law, he quickly even just threw the wife. Now, that is your opinion, which we highly respect, totally accepted. I will come to you, Asmali. What would you respond to him? As a father in marriage, you have children and you have a wife.
I think it's very interesting that Said is not yet married. I pray that he gets married very soon, because whatever he's talking about is not out of the out of context, but
Yeah.
rather his opinions. Huh?
Yeah.
For sure.
When you get into marriage, it's a different ball game. And marriage, like everyone is saying, it's not 50-50. It's actually 100-100. Everyone has to play their role 100% for marriage and family to be very, very well nourished
Yeah.
and important. And I think what he's talking about, what Said is talking about, is about ego. You know, ego. Everyone has an ego, pride. We all have that. That chatter we talk to our friends in the base, you know, whatever social gatherings that we do. There's different stories of men talking about how they are the men, the lion in the house. But the reality is that's far from the reality. And whatever happens behind your door is private. You know, for me, 2-3 nights ago, I went into the kitchen and cooked egg. That's the only thing that I can cook anyway. I'm a
At least
terrible
you
cook.
tried.
But I tried because my wife was not feeling well, and my daughters were a bit hungry. It was late in the evening. I could not take them out. So I went into the kitchen, made some omelette, you know, and everyone had food. And my wife, even though she was sick, she was beaming with happiness and she was smiling. And I think it's about how happy you make your family. You don't mind about anybody else. You know, that's their business. And when I'm leaving my house, I leave my house every morning, alhamdulillah, very confident, knowing that I have a loving family, I have a family that looks forward to me. My wife, by the way, was working. She is a very educated woman, but she chose to be a housewife out of her choice. She wants to look after her kids. And it's about understanding, again, it's about compromise. It's about sitting down and talking to each other. It's about having a conversation with your kids. Even your kids have to take part in the conversation sometimes. So we are not perfect. In the Somali culture, we say the tongue and the teeth live with each other all the time, but they still bite each other. You know, the tongue gets bitten. That's a narrative that no one is perfect. We have our weaknesses, but it's very important that you make sure that you have a family that looks up to you positively. And also, I have 2 daughters. I want to show these daughters that what do they see in me, through me, what are men like. You know, I don't want them to grow up thinking, oh, all men are this monster who comes home, beats my wife, my mother, abuses my mother all the time. No, I want my daughter to know that this man who comes home with gifts, who cooks for us, who is loving, you know.
Yeah,
So
you want to set
what
that
do,
example.
what does your daughter learn through you? It's about, you're a teacher. As a parent, as a family man, you're the teacher. So you have to teach your kids how they need to grow up.
Said, I'll come to you now. We say in this generation, 21st century, we say that we can contribute 50-50. The woman is working, the man is working. Again, I will come to domestic chores. Why can't it be 50-50? From this conversation, you have had very learned people on the set. What do you think about that?
Of course, things are changing, and women are also working in different sectors of economy. And of course, they are doing different things. Some of them are even head of their respective households. So I believe I'm telling everyone to use logic, not to have a designed way of doing things, then impose on all families. If, for example, if you cook in your house and you share duties with your wife, you should not expect me to cook and share duties with my wife, because my context might be different. And that is what I was trying to explain. This is affected by the things that happen around me, because you don't live in isolation. And to add to that, you must also know different people react differently to different situations. So, of course, you have to understand your spouse. If your spouse loves cooking, of course, you have to complement each other. You're not there to compete or to, and by that, there's this form of feminism, which I call toxic feminism, which is extremism. It's as if you are pulling in different directions. The woman is pulling on the from different side, and you're pulling from different side. And the marriage ends breaking up. And going back to the religion, I have to add that Shaitan loves divorces.
Of course, and Allah hates it.
And of course, you have been told that he loves divorces. So we must avoid them at all costs. If my wife, for example, I understand myself, and of course I understand the society I'm living
Cora,
in.
please briefly.
Yes, and I want to say, people should not misconstrue what I'm saying as if I be a very harsh father. I'll be very loving to my kids. I even cook sometimes. Maybe I not even cook once. He has cooked once. I cook several times.
Thank God.
Yes.
Thank God you have come to the other side of
yes,
the table.
I cook several times. But I have also to consider the things that are around me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Said. My director is really telling me that we don't have time. Now, we will be taking a short break, but before that, I went down on the ground and met a man called Mudathir from Mombasa, and here is his story.
I'm happy. Even when I got married, my wife allowed me access to the kitchen. So we could cook together. I would cook something, she would try. She would cook me something that I would try. And naturally, paka time ikafika where we found a balance of all our recipes. And now we enjoy, we share the kitchen together, which is a very fine thing that I enjoy. In fact, on Sundays, most of the time, breakfast or Saturday breakfast, that's me. And my kids really enjoy that. And I make them participate in what we do. Like, another one would do tomatoes, another tell them, okay, now pour it into the oil, and that's how we do it. The only problem we have is when we let cultures and tradition come in place of our religion, which is fundamental part of our constitutional lifestyle. All these things we are told to follow. He is the Uswatun Hasana, the best of all examples. And why do you have to feel shame following the best of all examples? Domestic chores are very, very important. Number one, it allows you to bond with your partner. It allows your partner to feel like a partner but not like a slave. It allows her to know that she is your partner and she is your love and not your maid. See, that is very, very absolutely crucial. And you show her that, you know what, I can come to your level and enjoy what you do, and you can come to my level and enjoy what I do.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show.
Only on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obunga. Take Tuesday with Yusuf Farah.
800 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence.
Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursday with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the round table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah Show, only on Horizon TV.
Repel the thought, for if you don't, it becomes an idea. So repel the idea, for if you don't, it will become a desire. So fight against that desire, for if you don't, it will become a determination and a passion. And if you don't repel that, it will become an action. And if you don't replace it with its opposite, it will become a constant habit. So at that point, it will be difficult for you to change it.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said the believers encourage people to reconcile relations with those who have cut them off. Give charity to those who have deprived them. Forgive those who have oppressed them. Be kind with parents. Uphold family ties. Be kind with neighbors. Be kind with orphans, travelers, and the poor, and to be gentle with servants. They forbid bragging, arrogance, and transgression. They discourage people from feeling superior over others, rightly or wrongly. They enjoin people to use lofty manners and prohibit them from pursuing trifles. All that they say or do from these values and other teachings, in all of it they follow the Quran and the Sunnah. Their path is the religion of Islam with which Allah has sent Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. From the most interesting things is the alertness of the dying person at the time of his death. For he becomes perceptive to a degree which cannot be described, and worried to an extent that has no limits. And he yearns for his times of old, and wishes that he be left so that he can make up for what passed him by, and so that he can be truthful in his repentance, in accordance with the level of certainty he now has about death. And he, out of grief, almost kills his own soul before its actual death. And if a single atom's weight of these things were found at the time of health and
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show.
Only on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the last segment of the roundtable. And of course, today the topic of discussion is what is the role of men when it comes to families? And I had an amazing panelist here and we had a very interesting conversation, had examples from a person like Asmali where he told us he helps out his wife and told us that a man is supposed to be a leader. And then again on the opposing side, we had Said Kuria, who was more so on the cultural side but came to realize that, you know what, at the end of the day, it all boils down to compromise. And right now, I have with me here Sheikh Ratib to put things into the Islamic perspective. Sheikh Ratib, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I am sure you have had the conversation.
Yes, I did.
Any comments regarding what you had?
Okay. Both sides, I can say they had a point to prove. And being here, I just want to neutralize the ground. Yep.
Now, Sheikh Ratib, who is a man according to Islam and what are his responsibilities?
Okay, to start off, a man according to Islam, a man is the successor. A man is the leader. A man is Allah's representative in this world. When Allah wanted to create the human being, remember he said, I want to bring somebody who is going to be a leader. So he was referring to this man. So for this man, his roles, the roles that he's supposed to be playing here in this world, he has to be a role model. He has to be the leader. He has to ensure that everything is in order. Yeah, that is the man.
Okay, Sheikh Ratib, apart from, a lot of people put emphasis, and it is also stipulated that a man is the provider. Apart from being the provider, what else is he supposed to do in a family setup? Let's say today you have a wife and you have children. As a man, what is your role in that family?
Okay, when we talk about the family specifically, the roles of the man, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ar-rijalu qawwamuna ala nisa. Number one, this man, he's supposed to be the leader, he's supposed to be the mentor, he's supposed to be the provider. Similarly, when it comes to children, he has to be the role model as well. So in a family setup, this man is responsible. One, he has to offer that support. He has to offer the security to provide for them whatever needs they have, be it spiritually, emotionally, he has to be there. Yes.
Now, Shakratib, let's go into the domestic chores. There was a very
Yes.
heated conversation here.
Yes.
And, you know, a lot of men, Muslim men, when they want to get married, the first requirement that they want is the woman should cook. If she cannot cook, I got a comment where the man said, I will drink a soda and go to sleep. I don't need a wife. What can you say about that?
Point of correction, it's not only the Muslim men. It's men in general. Now you see, the question to ask ourselves is this: who says that it is the responsibility of the women to cook or to do the house chores? It's nothing religious. Okay, rather where we get this from, it is from the customs. And this one has been also appreciated in our religion. You see, in our religion, if something is not there in the Quran, neither is it in the traditions of the Prophet, then we can also adapt it from our customs. Now from the customs, you find that it is normally the woman who is supposed to be doing that. So also as a Muslim man, we also follow similar custom, and there's nothing wrong about it.
Now, Shakratib, we have understood the problem is that, you know, culture is coming in. So what is the solution towards this menace where a man thinks a woman is supposed to cook and he's just supposed to be there providing financially?
I would say that each needs to take up their due responsibilities as expected or as regarded of them. You see, in our religion, everything has been stipulated clearly. As a man, you need to provide. And part of the provision is that you need to work hard and ensure that you meet the needs of your family. Now, for the woman also, if the man is striving hard to provide for you, what can you do in return? That's where the custom comes in. If you're in a scenario whereby the wife is just a housewife, the man is struggling throughout the day. Do you really expect this wife just to sit there, the man coming from work, after spending the whole day outside working, then he comes back and then he goes straight to the kitchen again? This will not be fair. So in return, out of favor, the woman is also expected to be doing something at least to support the man in it. Okay.
Shakratib, to wind up this show, you know, tell us examples of the Prophet, peace be upon him. We always talk about the sunnahs and everything, but I feel as a society, we are very selective on what sunnah we want to follow. Give us examples of what the Prophet used to do with his wives.
Okay, Aisha radiallahu anha, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, she says that the Prophet sometimes, he could come to the house, he could go and do the house chores. The Prophet sometimes, he could cook. He could clean his own shoes. And in one scenario, while he was cleaning his shoes and then he was sweating from his forehead, then Aisha radiallahu anha, seeing how amazing the Prophet was, he came and she kissed the Prophet's cheek. So this shows that yes, even the man also, there's no harm with you trying to do some part of those house chores, because it also strengthens the bond in your family, in the marriage setup.
Thank you so much for that, Sheikh Ratib. Thank you for coming on board and giving us the Islamic light. And now, to my perspective, if the Prophet, peace be upon him, helped his wives, then who are we not to? Participating in domestic chores does not make you less of a man. Let's all lighten our hearts and revive the Sunnah. I've been your host, Aisha Khan, and this has been the Round Table, where we discuss very thorny and pertinent issues in our society.